What is a permanent labor certification?
Very good question. You see, the United States government have a responsibility to protect American jobs, to protect American workers. So they frown at situations where companies bring in cheap labor from outside the United States just to employ them and get cheap labor. The government frowns at that. So they put up a program known as permanent labor certification. So what that means is that before an employer, a U.S. employer, can employ a foreigner, they have to go through this process called labor certification. What that means is that they contact the Department of Labor. We have an opening. I'm a lawyer, for example. Let's say my office have an opening for a lawyer and we decided to employ a foreigner. We will have to contact the Department of Labor and notify them. We have an opening at our office for an associate attorney. Then the Department of Labor will tell the employer to do several things. One, to place advertisement with the state workforce agency. So that depends on the state of the intended employment. Let's say the state is Texas. The employer will have to place an advert with the Texas Workforce Commission. That is the state workforce agency. So they will place an advert with them that we have an opening for an attorney. In addition to that, the employer will have to place advertisement on 2 Sundays in a major newspaper in the area of intended employment. Again, since I'm in Dallas, I'm going to use Dallas as an example. In the Dallas-Fort Worth metropolis, the accepted newspaper for the purpose of labor certification is the Dallas Morning News. So the employer will have to place advertisement on 2 Sundays in the Dallas Morning News, assuming the employment is within the Dallas area. In addition to that, the employer will have to place advertisement in at least 3 online job search websites. That is where people go to look for employment. Maybe something like Indeed.com, Monster.com, Yahoo or jobs. Website where people go to look for employment. So at least 3. The employer must place advertisement on these 3. In addition, the employer must place advertisement on the employer's website. And also, the employer must now place advertisement in the employer's principal place of business. That is called job notice. This job notice must have some specific requirement, must meet some specific requirement. For example, the law office of Olu Asekun intend to hire a foreigner as an attorney. If anybody has an objection, please contact the Department of Labor. Their address is so and so. Their phone number is this. That job notice must be in a conspicuous place at the employer's principal place of business for at least 10 working days. Now, having gone through all of that, if at the end of the job recruitment exercise, if there are no American citizens who is eligible or who is interested, then the employer will go back to the Department of Labor and tell them, okay, we have done all this, we still don't have anybody, we want to hire a foreigner. Then they will submit an application. That application is called Application for Permanent Labor Certification. Now, the Department of Labor, having reviewed the application, they can do one of 3 things. They can review the application and summarily approve it. They can also review the application and summarily deny it. They can also review the application and choose to audit the employer. Now, what can make them summarily approve it? If they review it and verify that, well, this position, actually, there are no Americans who are interested, they just go ahead and realize that the employer has complied with every requirement of the law. They just go ahead and approve it. On the other hand, if they also look at it and realize that in the process, the employer has violated the law, they can summarily deny it. I know that my listeners or even you may be wondering, how could an employer violate the law in the process, in this type of process? Let me give you an example. Still using my law office. Let's say the law office places this advert that I want to read to you. The law office of Olu Asekun needs an attorney, competitive salary. Applicant must have 1 year experience. Applicant must be able to speak Spanish. Applicant must have a Texas license. Send resume to the law office of Olu Asekun, 5020 Mansfield Road, Arlington, Texas, 76017. That's an advert. To you or to an ordinary person, you don't see anything wrong with that kind of advert. It seems so simple, but that advert is actually a violation of law. I'm sure you'll be wondering, how does it violate the law? Let me remind you. That statement that says applicant must be able to speak Spanish, that is a violation of law. There is no requirement under American law that an American citizen must be able to speak Spanish before they can get a job. That's a violation of law. So on that basis alone, that application is going to be denied. So that's why sometimes some of these things are so technical, and it's always good to consult an expert before embarking on this type of journey, because having spent money, time, and everything, and then at the end of the day, the application is denied, one will be wondering, what did I do wrong, or where did I go wrong? But of course, it is so easy to get into trouble with the law. The third thing that the Department of Labor could do after reviewing application for labor certification is to audit the employer. And let me be honest with you, this is one of the reasons it is difficult for foreigners to get employers to sponsor them, because nobody wants to go through auditing. Auditing simply means that the Department of Labor can contact the employer. Okay, when you place advertisement in Dallas Morning News, how many people apply? We want to see copies of all the applications. Did you even invite them for interview? If yes, how did you communicate with them? Did you send them an email? If yes, we want to see a copy of the email. Did you call them on the phone? If yes, can we see your phone record? Did you mail a letter to them? If yes, we want to see proof of delivery. Remember, part of the places where the employer is supposed to place advertisement is the state workforce agency. That is where American citizens go to apply for unemployment. So it is possible that while this advertisement was running, it is possible that the Department of the State Workforce Agency may have directed qualified candidates to this employer, telling them, oh, you are a lawyer, you are looking for a job. The law office of Olu Asekun is looking for a lawyer. Go there and apply. And then maybe this person sent in an application. Either he was never even contacted or even interviewed or anything. Maybe 2-3 months down the lane, this person went back to the State Workforce Agency to apply for unemployment again. Oh, 2 months ago, we told you that the law office was hiring. Did you not apply? And then maybe the person told them, oh, I submitted application, they never called me for interview. Or they invited me for interview, I attended it, they told me they will get back to me, and they never did. So all these things, the Department of Labor may already have those kind of records, and the employer may not be aware. So when they start asking for all these things, when they conduct audit, it poses risk, a lot of risk to the employer. And if the Department of Labor at the end of the exercise determined that the employer was trying to play smart, maybe by directing the advert to meet the specific qualification of the foreign applicant, or maybe trying to play some other smart moves, the Department of Labor could sanction the employer. They could even prevent the employer from ever having to hire a foreigner. They could also impose financial penalties. There are so many things they could do. So that is why a lot of employers, they are not willing to take such risks, especially small businesses. They are not willing to take this risk, and that is one of the reasons why it is difficult for foreign nationals to get sponsors for the purpose of obtaining green card. However, having explained what a labor certification is, it is also important to say that there are 3 exceptions to this labor certification requirement. It is not every profession that is required to go through this labor certification. Those 3 professional exceptions are ministers, pastors and ministers. They are exempt from this requirement of labor certification. Then the second category is what is called Schedule A occupation, that is nurses and physical therapists. The reason for that is that the government already made a determination that nurses are in shortage. So if they already knew that they don't have enough nurses, it would be unreasonable to tell employers to go through this process when they already know that they have shortage of nurses and physical therapists. That is Schedule A occupation. Then the third exception is some employment-based category like EB2, what is called national interest waiver, or EB1, or even EB5, investor. So all these are exempt from the requirement of labor certification.
And for those who don't know, EB is employment-based.
Employment-based, yes. Thank you. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it. Because our desire is to educate as many people as possible, we have decided to go live effective January 2023 so that we will be able to answer people's specific questions. So please watch out for our live podcast effective January 2023. Thank you.